Hey guys, welcome back to Cereal at Midnight. My name is Heath Holland. You might notice that the camera is just a little bit shifted over where it normally is. It's because I wanted to film in front of these are like my 50s Western TV shows, many of which come from Timeless Media Group, which is a Shout Factory company. Shout Factory acquired, they bought Timeless Media Group. And over the last year to 2 to 3 years, I've really been chasing a lot of these 50s TV shows. They're aggressively going out of print because I think the audience for them is dying. I think the audience for a lot of these things is baby boomers, and even, like the World War II generation. They're leaving us. And I'm just snapping up this stuff as much as I can. So, yeah, well, there's so many directions I want to go here. Why am I making this video? I want to tell you what I'm interested in right now, how I've spent the last few weeks. I just made a video for YouTube talking about trying to get out from under the algorithm. It wants to push new release coverage and like, buy, this is what's new. Check this out. And when I deviate from that, like the algorithm punishes me, and I was like, no more. I don't care anymore. So this is the first fruits of that conversation, because you saw the thumbnail, right? You clicked this video. We're talking about Gene Autry B-Westerns from the 1930s, the 1940s, and into the 1950s. That is not commercial. That's not a commercial topic, but that's where I'm at. Anytime. Interestingly, it was like 1 year ago, almost to the date, that I made a video here on the channel called, I think it's called B-Movie Heroes, which I've popped up a graphic of it right here so you can see it, so you can go find it. I've also linked in the description of this video. I am chasing B-Westerns. I have never really watched them before the last few years, and now I'm chasing them. About a year ago, I got into Tex Ritter, I got into Buck Jones, I got into Big Boy Williams, Wild Bill Elliott. Here's the trajectory is what I think. And Gene Autry is the titan, right? Gene Autry is one of the biggest stars of that scene. So over the Christmas holiday break, the recent December holidays, I acquired all 12 volumes of Timeless Media Group's Gene Autry collections. I think there's 12. I don't think they went beyond 12. And each one of these has 4 of Gene Autry's B-Westerns. They're not in any chronological order, so you have to do a lot of jumping around. I also acquired the complete, it's in 4 different volumes. It's 5 seasons, 5 series. No. Yeah, 5 seasons. Switched to British, like I got British first. It's 5 series. It's 5 seasons on in 4 different box sets, because one of these is the complete 3rd and 4th season. Why? Oh, and we're gonna start here too. The Gene Autry serial that kind of launched his because he was a recording artist, right? He was like, here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus. We hear that on the radio all the time. It's endured all the 80, 90 years. It's endured. But he was so successful as a recording artist, as like that singing cowboy type, that he got a movie career. I was trying to think about my trajectory, like how I got here. I think spaghetti westerns are a gateway, especially for, well, I'm going to speak for like my age, right? Because I'm growing up in the 80s, born in the tail end of the 70s, growing up in the 80s and the 90s, like spaghetti westerns, the Clint Eastwood movies, Django, stuff like that. Those are gateways. That's not like a pure western. That's a gateway. That's a pop western. It's music and it's operatic, and they don't even talk that much, right? It's not plot centric. It's not well written. They are visual. The spaghetti western is a visual thing. The next step beyond that is I got into 50s westerns, because 50s are the height, the heyday of the western format. That is the purest form of the western, because you're coming out of World War II, right? You've got all the influence of film noir, the same thing that made film noir so potent, all that trauma and all that like looking darkness in the face, like coming back scarred. That ends up in all the film noir, but it also ends up in all of the westerns, or many of the westerns. So regardless of if it's a big budget, if it gets The Searchers by John Wayne, or if it's a smaller B movie from the 1950s. Like, I mean, I always reference Quantz with Fred MacMurray because I love it. And I don't want to spoil it for you. I also don't want to set the bar too high, because I've been guilty of that in the past. As people are like, I watched Quantz and it was fine, but boy, you love that movie. I do. It's kind of just the poster child for like, look what this movie can do thematically and just with characterization and like the idea of darkness, but not wanting to be the villain. There's so much there. That's the 50s, right? Well, where do you go after that? Then you go back to the B movies, the little cheap, quick, I mean, they're disposable. They're B movies that were meant to play really for children at a matinee. is that's an exaggeration, that's an oversimplification, but it's a lot of what it is, really. But from the 1930s to the 1950s, that format, the B Western, was king. I mean, it was massive. They made thousands of these movies, and they all do have very similar plots. I'm already having a hard time differentiating them from each other. But you think about A Christmas Story, right? Ralphie wants his Red Ryder BB gun. Well, Red Ryder was a comic strip, and in 1940 they launched it as I think the first one is a serial, and then there's like dozens of Red Ryder movies. They're largely for children, but I don't know. I think in a time where all of the movies, I have to be very careful with over-exaggerating here, speaking in generalities, because some of you guys do not respond to that. You take me very literally. Often, modern movies are very large. They're really expensive. They're grandiose in their visual spectacle, but there's not a lot of humanity in them. We're living in the blockbuster tentpole era where we have a butt ton of Transformers movies, Fast and the Furious movies, Marvel movies, DC movies, whatever. These are visual feasts, visual spectacles. There's something very, very pure and simple and approachable about these B movies. And that's why I've gravitated now to the Republic pictures of the 40s and the 50s, the adventure movies, the jungle movies, the desert adventure films. And we're getting so much of this stuff like restored, 4K restorations and things like that. I was too young at the time. See, here's the thing, like these movies, they were around when I was a kid. And so they were there. You'd see them as you were flipping through the channels, but I was too young to really gravitate to them. The benefit of it now is that because of that 80s, I'll call it like a cable resurgence, because like the Nashville Network. Now, well, then became TNN. What is it now? Is it TNN? Is that what became Spike TV? I'm trying to remember. It started as the Nashville Network. And it was, like country content is what it was. And they would really lean into like baby boomer stuff is what it was. So Gene Autry had a show. Gene Autry and Pat Buttram. It's a terrible Pat Buttram, but if you know who Pat Buttram is and what he sounds like, I tried, right? At the Melody Ranch Theater, which was a segment of, it was a show on TNN where Gene Autry in his 80s would go like, thanks for coming to the Melody Ranch. We're going to watch one of my movies. And then they'd show the movie, and it's what Joe Bob Briggs does now, right? It's that thing, but it was old cowboy pictures. And they would talk about the movie, and they'd have the guest star, like whoever was the female lead or whatever, they'd have that person come onto the show and talk about their reminiscences. It's like 13 minutes of talking head segments, but those are here whenever possible. And they've got radio shows from Gene Autry Melody Ranch radio show from like contemporary to that time. They've got the posters, they've got the lobby cards. It's really cool. That doesn't mean they're all great, because they are not. This is one of the things, like, just because I'm talking about this, just because I'm interested in this right now, and this is the path I'm kind of pursuing for my own knowledge, it's really my own curiosity. It's knowing what I know, like okay, spaghetti westerns, great. Like, those are getting 4K restorations too. 50s westerns, great, smaller audience, right? 30s to 50s B movies are like, boop. I mean, it's a teeny tiny audience. I'm not recommending these to you. You savvy? I'm not saying, hey, go check these out. They're creaky. Some of them aren't very good. Some of them are very good. That's the thing, is like when you connect with them, you're like, wow, it's the myth, right? It's this black hat, white hat, larger than life, very simple, a very approachable, very real, fun, innocent idea. There's not a lot of violence. There's usually a chase. There's usually a bad guy that's like a land baron that has to be stopped, or like a cattle rustler that needs to be stopped. The movie's running like in 58 minutes to like an hour and 10, something like that. They're short. They were meant to play as part of a bill with a cartoon, probably maybe a serial chapter or 2 or 3. They are part of a package, right? They're programmers. That's where we get the term programmer. They're meant to be slotted into a larger program. And I just find something wonderful about it. Now, even then, I can only watch them certain times. Early in the morning, late at night, because they're so removed from our world now, from the way we are now. You pick when you want to watch it, because when you watch it will determine how much of it resonates with you. The Phantom Empire is this VCI? A lot of this stuff, one of the reasons I'm chasing this stuff down is because I think it's going out of print. Like, this is getting hard to find. And I don't even know what this is going to look like. I'm recording this video not as a, let me tell you about Gene Autry. This is just like, here's where I'm at. Maybe down the road, there'll be another video. I don't even know how to cover this. I don't even know if I want to cover this. Like, okay, when I get to the other side of this, do I want to write a book? Is this a series of essays? Is this a series of reviews for my site? Or is it just for me, just for fun, because I enjoy them? I don't know yet. But that's where I'm at right now. This is the passion that's leading me. That's the passion that's leading to this video. The Phantom Empire was the first Gene Autry starring vehicle. Serial, crazy. I mean, it's crazy. They're a nation 20,000 feet underground. We've got robots. I mean, it is 30s nuts, like Flash Gordon, but with Gene Autry, you know? And one of the things I wanted to say about this is, like, it's going to be off-putting to probably a very young generation, but the idea of a cowboy, like, he's wrestling, you know, he's like battling the rustlers, right? And he's on his horse and he's a champion, and he's doing good things, and then let's sing a song. Because he is a recording artist, and we do have to sell some records, right? Or it's those songs that are drawing people into the experience anyway. At one point in time, Gene Autry was the biggest, most recognizable star in all of the, like, in all the world. Like, he has, there's a stat here. Gene Autry is the only entertainer with all five stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, one each for radio, recording, motion pictures, television, and live performance. He was the silver screen's first singing cowboy, and is credited with creating the genre of the musical B-Western. As the star of 89 feature films, which I guess I've got about 48 here in these collections. Gene brings music, comedy, and action to each of his roles. So, I mean, it's just a very unique thing, right? And it's before Roy Rogers, and I just really, there's just something about, it's that magic of an old Hollywood. It's the Hollywood that never was. It's the mythic. When we talk about the golden age of Hollywood, of course, it's like Route 66, right? I've driven all of Route 66 from Chicago all the way to the Santa Monica Pier. Route 66 is a myth. The reality is not, you know, you think about the song of Route 66. You think about what it means in pop culture. I've got a Route 66 area in a room downstairs, right? I've got, like, you know, the bull horns, like the skull with the bull horns over a Route 66 road sign. It's a myth. That is not really, it's not a reality, but myth is such a part of America. You know, the cowboy myth, the idea of the Western expansion and the heroism. And that myth is fascinating to me. The golden age of Hollywood is largely a myth because we didn't have stars on social media. We didn't have stars, you know, Cary Grant wasn't on Twitter, right? You didn't really know what was going on with these guys. You saw them in the pictures, and you saw maybe some articles or some interviews in papers, things like that. It is the purest form of what I love about movies. It's just this idea, the myth of the movies. That's what I'm chasing. Sometimes it delivers, sometimes it doesn't. But I wanted to just fire up the camera and share this with you guys. Again, I don't know what the next time, like, I don't know when you'll see me talking about this again, because 48 movies, that's a lot of movies to get through. That's 48 hours worth of stuff, plus the special features. I don't know what this is going to turn itself into, but it's where I'm at right now. Also checking out some Buck Jones. I don't know, I would love to use this as a springboard to talk about B-Westerns, to talk about the Western format in general. And if you have any advice or thoughts about Gene Autry, it's interesting. So he started at Republic Pictures. That was his first contract, Republic Pictures. Then he moved to Columbia Pictures. Robot Porter, I'm going to reference you. User YouTube handle Robot Porter was pointing out something that I want to reference here, but I want to give credit to him too because I'm not that deep into this yet. The Republic movies, he's in the 30s and the 40s. Like, he's in contemporary times. There's cars, there's airplanes, there's trains, whatever. Well, there's always trains. Modern transportation, right? There's like one of the ones I watched starts with I think it's the second one, starts with a rodeo. And it's just, the guy, because he's a recording artist, right? You got to get Gene Autry singing into the microphone. But Columbia stuff put him in period, in the Mythic West of the 1800s. So it's just an interesting shift there. I'd love to talk about this with you guys. This is what I'm interested in right now. This is what I'm doing. It's one of about 100 things I'm interested in right now. But we can talk about this. I would love to get your take on Gene Autry, the classic singing cowboys, the B-Western heroes of days of yore. I'll say this, Classic Flicks is working on a complete restoration of the Hopalong Cassidy series. So it all is not lost, right? I think the target audience for these movies, the people that were there that saw them as children, I think they're leaving us, but there's guys like me, and I don't know how much of a percentage of the overall movie fandom I make up, but there are guys like me who want to discover, the seekers who are constantly looking for this stuff, seeking it out and checking it out. And again, it's not about loving everything that I see. It's about learning about it, knowing about it, and letting that fill out the tapestry of knowledge, because everything connects. You connect stars and actors and directors, but people would work all through the entire system, right? For decades. So it's just about filling out my knowledge and having some fun along the way. So thank you guys. I appreciate you very much. Take care. Until next time, I will catch you later.